Well, first of all, as always, welcome everybody to our first press conference of the year. It's always exciting for me to be able to showcase our student athletes on a weekly basis. I want to start by thanking our Norfolk State alumni, our athletic foundation, members of the Spartan Army for helping us through some situations this summer. They did a lot to help our program get through training camp, and I just wanted to thank those special people. But moving forward, it's a huge week for us. It's our first opportunity to play against someone else other than Norfolk State. Our guys are excited. It's a great opportunity for us to showcase our football program, our university, and not have to travel very far. Very rarely do you get the opportunity to play a Division I game and not have to travel. It's a city rivalry. I think it should be a great atmosphere with Old Dominion opening their new facility, and we're looking forward to getting it going on Saturday night.
Questions? Coach, kind of a two-parter, but I'll start with the first part. You guys are so under the radar. I feel like half the people that show up to the game on Saturday don't even know who they're playing.
No question about it.
So how does that land for you, just being like, you guys are so under the radar, everybody's so excited about this new stadium thing, they get like articles about the food, the video board. So how does that land for you?
Well, I think it's great for us. It's given us the opportunity to focus on ourselves. As you said, nobody's really been worried about us, so it's really given us a chance to make sure that Norfolk State's okay. We feel like we have a good football team, one of the better teams that we've had here. Old Dominion's always been a competitive football team. Bobby's done a tremendous job over there, and we look forward to going over and matching up with those guys on Saturday night.
And the second part is that from what I've read, they plan on using all three quarterbacks to try to figure out who's going to take that starting job, which means that they don't have a starter. They're going to kind of use you guys as a testing ground. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it could be seen as a kind of a preseason football contest. At the end of the day, everybody's still trying to feel their way. I do know that they've got three of the biggest quarterbacks in the country. All three young men have great size, and I'm sure they're talented. And I know what it's like to be in a situation where you don't have your starting quarterback week one. So I'm sure those guys are kind of feeling through some things. And obviously the Williams kid is a great athlete. Obviously he's going to play wide out and quarterback. The other two young men, because they're new guys, you don't have any film on them, so it'll be interesting to see. But obviously when you see big athletic quarterbacks, you expect quarterback runs, and you expect those guys to be able to scramble and get out of the pocket. So it'll take a few series on both sides of the ball for everybody to figure everything out.
Yeah, Nigel, I also want to get your thoughts from a defensive perspective, knowing that you're going to be going up against three different guys at different times during the game. So about given away your game plan, of course, how is the defense thinking about facing three different guys?
Well, we got to face them one at a time. The only one can play at a time, so going watching film, just watching the offensive film from last year, not putting emphasis too much on the new guys, just going, following our game plan, filling up what we got to fill up, and just playing football.
Yeah, Coach, how much do you think your experience on defense is going to be a real boon for you?
I think it's been a great situation. It's a very mature defense. Guys that are over there making plays. It's led by Nigel. Nigel's been around here for a long time. Anytime you can get a fifth-year senior, this game's not too big for him. He's played on stages like this before. He's made plays in these 1A games before. And you've got a lot of good football players on defense. Our defensive line's been led by Deshaun Dixon, who's had a tremendous preseason. Aaron's brother Brandon. I always screw that up. Aaron's brother Brandon is a top flight corner. And then I think we've got two of the better safeties in 1AA football in Bobby Price and Nyree Quinley. So we're very excited about our defense. Those guys they're flying around. They've been a problem to deal with all training camp for our offense. So I think just the fact that those guys have played games together will pay dividends.
Aaron, last year ODU didn't have a really particularly good defense, and they brought in a lot of new guys, whether JUCO or freshmen. So there's probably not a lot of film on them. You guys are probably focusing on yourselves, but what do you expect from the running game this Saturday?
The coaches got to put together a game plan. We've been going through things, since Sunday, looking at film and things like that. But like Nigel alluded to, we're not really worried about their personnel. We just got to worry about our game plan and executing what it is that we do, and I'm sure we'll be fine.
Coach, the one guy I haven't really talked to you about is Sean McFarland, tight end. I assume he's more of a kind of a blocking. He's got a blocking pedigree more often, and maybe that help in the rushing attack.
Sean's an athlete. Sean will be a pleasant surprise for everybody to see. Sean and Anthony Williams have battled all training camp long to see who the starter's going to be. We still don't know who the starter is going to be, but the beauty of it is you have the ability to play both of those guys at the same time. We've never had the opportunity to do that, and if you can play with a single tight end, that's physical at the point of attack, or play with two tight ends, it gives you an advantage. And when you can flex your tight ends out and do some things like that, it makes your offense a little bit more complex. But Sean came in the spring. He's done a tremendous job. He was around here every day this summer. We had to get rid of him for a week to send him home to New York to get refreshed. But he's an energy guy. He's a physical guy, and he's not just a blocking tight end. He can flex out. He can run routes on linebackers and safety. So we're very excited to have him here, and also complement what Ant Williams has been able to do for us. So tight end is a position of strength for us.
And at receiver, I assume we're going to see multiple guys, and being the starter is just kind of a moniker, but I do want to tip a cap to guys like Tylen and DK who did get that starting role. So what can you say about them and what they did to deserve that? Well,
Tylen and DK have come in here and kind of changed the face of what we're able to do. Obviously, we lost some good football players to graduation and transfers, and that's kind of what happens in college football these days. But Tylen came in the summer. DK came in the summer, and those guys bought in and committed to being competitive, and they've upped the level in our room. Marquis Ellington is kind of the old man in the room, and Marquis been the steadying influence in the room. But Justin Smith is going to play a lot. You'll see Stuart Anderson play some. Tremaine Talbot, a true freshman, will play some. Vinny Jarvis, a local kid from Virginia Beach, will play some. So we'll play somewhere between 6 and 7 wideouts on Saturday to try to make sure that everybody stays fresh. But I'm very excited about that group. They're all dynamic. They all have different talents and skill sets, which give us the ability to be effective on the perimeter.
Getting into a little bit more X's and O's detail type stuff. From what I've read, ODU's got their new defense kind of has a position that Nigel has been playing, which is a hybrid end and stand-up linebacker. So do you think that could be an advantage for you guys, knowing that you've scrimmaged against that for years in the past?
Well, when you watch what Coach Blackwell did at East Carolina, you would assume that he's going to do some of those things, but obviously it's an unknown for us. Just because they say that's what they're going to do, that they could come out and line up in an odd front on Saturday. So we'll be prepared for it. But, obviously when you're playing a hybrid linebacker defensive end type, that means that the guy's athletic and he's a pass rusher. So we're going to have to make sure that we're prepared for that. Again, it's kind of battling the unknown. So, we don't know much about the personnel. You don't know much about the scheme. I know Lance Boykin's a very good player for them at corner. I know they moved one of the corners back to safety. Their middle linebacker, I think, they're their best football player, and they've got 2 interior defensive linemen that are very good football players. So they've got some new guys on the team, but they still have a solid nucleus coming back of guys that made plays for them a year ago.
Aaron and Nigel, I want to ask each of you individually, with this being your last collegiate season, what are kind of the emotions that you're feeling run up to your final season opening game?
For me, it's kind of like a ball of emotions right now. Like, I'm not really sure how to feel. Like, I'm sure I'll be really emotional on Saturday just because I know that this is my last game of my senior season and everything like that. And being able to play with these guys I've been playing with for 4 or 5 years. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But like I said, I think it's going to be really emotional, and I'm just looking forward to the rest of the season playing alongside these guys.
What's the question again?
Just kind of what you're feeling right now, man, knowing it's your last season in college and this is your last season opening game. What you're kind of feeling right now?
I'm just thankful to make it to this point. Just being able to graduate in December, finish the season out, and just go out with a bang with my teammates. Everybody been putting in the work this far over these last couple of years, trying to change the program around. So I think we finally put the pieces together to make things work.
And Coach, for you, what are some of the things you think maybe not many people know about Aaron and Nigel that makes them such great veteran presences and leaders?
Two very special young men. A lot of people don't realize that Aaron actually didn't play his first year here on campus because he was focused on his studies. He's an engineering major. He's a 3.0 student. Consummate professional. When it comes to the weight room, when it comes to the classroom. And I think in today's world, in today's society, there are not many young men that would come in and say, hey, I'm here initially on an academic scholarship. I'm going to make sure that I take care of my academic piece, and I'll see you guys next year. So that's the reason that we're fortunate that he's still here, because, if he had played a little bit as a true freshman, he wouldn't still be here. But Aaron Chavis is going to be successful at whatever he does. And Nigel and I go back a long way, from the same place, and a lot of family ties, and it's exciting for me to see him come from the school that he came from, from the inner city of Richmond, and and come here and be on track to graduate in December. And he's one of the best defensive football players I've ever seen. We've had Deion King here, and he's right up there with Deion in my book. And I'm just excited to see both of these guys play their senior season, and I know they're going to get after people because we've been through a lot together. We've been through ups and downs, and we've taken our lumps, and we've told everybody, hey, it's our time to stand up. So we're looking forward to Saturday more than anything else.
And what can you say about Josh winning the kicker battle? Ryan, I know that was neck and neck.
Well, it's still kind of up in the air. We had we had another competition in practice yesterday. The fortunate thing about it is that we've got two kickers. We've got two great kickers that can both kick off, they can both punt, and they can both kick field goals. So that's not a luxury that we've ever had here before. So you'll see both of those guys do multiple things on Saturday.
Aaron, when it comes to the topic of how they're ODU's kind of treating this like a preseason game, they're more focused on the opening of the stadium, stuff like that, and underestimating you guys. What do you guys say amongst yourselves in terms of, hey, we want to go in there and beat them on their opening night? What's kind of the communication like for you guys with them underestimating you?
I think that, it's cool that they're opening a new stadium and everything, talk about everything else, but like Nigel said, we worry about what's in between the white lines, so we worry about what we got to do and our game plan and everything like that, and I think we'll be fine being able to execute everything, so I'm looking forward to it.
And I don't think there's necessarily been the Old Dominion coaches or the football players or the staff that have made it about everything else. I know that Bobby and his team are focused on the game, so we don't want that to be the narrative. But when you're opening a brand new stadium, you're gearing this towards the fans because they've got to make sure this thing is sold out, which I'm sure it will be. But I don't want it to be and we haven't discussed as a team by any stretch that they're not worried about us.
Coach Scott, you've been with this team the whole summer. What do you think the identity of the team for this season?
It's a very mature and focused team. It's a team a lot different from other teams that we've had. You could see during times in training camp where guys did things together that they wouldn't normally do. You see guys spending time with freshmen. You see guys spending time with, guys from different, that are just on different waves. We had rain delays during training camp. You walk in the locker room and see the guys playing cards. You see just different subsets of our team doing things together, and I think that's when you've really got a football team. And I think one thing that we've been battling for years here is kind of the culture of guys not being willing to call each other out. And this is a bunch that's willing to call each other out, and it's a bunch that's willing to respond to being called out, because a lot of times if you're criticized by one of your friends, you're criticized by one of your teammates, the first thing that you do is you lash back out, and our guys are taking the criticism, and that's a sign of maturity. So it's a very mature and focused group, and it's taken us a lot longer than I've wanted to get to that point, but I'm glad we're finally there.
The last position battle I wanted to ask you about was Dom at center. What were your thoughts on him?
Dom will probably start the game at center. I mean, Dom's worked his tail off. Dom's kind of the quarterback of the offensive line. If you say Dom and Jalen could both see snaps at center on Saturday, but Dom has the innate ability to get everybody lined up and make sure everybody's doing things the right way. The kids call him Know-It-All Dom, and it's because he does know a lot, and he's always trying to be a leader. So we're very excited to have him there. But the underlying thing that we keep talking about is that we have another guy that can play center if there's an issue.
Any other questions? All right.
All right, thank you.